broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us for another AfterBuzz TV after show for Downton Abbey. This is the final series. Yay. And we're in episode 7 here. Lots to cover. I'm John Comerford, joined in the studio by Tamara Berg.
Hey everybody.
And Courtney Stewart.
Hello.
And also a bottle of Cabernet.
Yes.
So that's who's joining us this week. Back from a little bit of a sabbatical.
We found the corkscrew.
All right, so I was excited. We've had a lot this year. We've had a fox hunt this year. We've got this particular episode. We got the car race. Yes. And that was kind of exciting. I really wanted to start with that because I wanted to just acknowledge David Evans and then Graham Frake, who David was the director and Graham was the DP on this. Mm-hmm. I love their shots.
Beautiful.
Wasn't it?
Yes,
it was beautiful.
Yeah, and okay, so you guys geeked out on the costumes. I thought the cars were amazing.
Go for it, John.
Yeah.
I can talk about the pretty colors.
You can
and the nice paint job.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the cars and that they run to them to get into them, and that was exciting.
I thought that was such an interesting little add of texture. Added texture.
It's like cross country meets race cars, all kinds of great.
Well, I thought a number of these, they spent the money for the cars, so they showed them off. At least they covered them well, so you got to see them, and then they had the great aerial shots, the drones or whatever. And I'm going, I just like that they're doing things like that. And then I thought it was edited well because it was really sharp. The music was great. I'm going, wow, this is quite exciting for Downton Abbey.
At least one of our viewers was like, oh my God, that shooting was so awful.
Was it awful?
They just didn't like it. But
I can see that, but I'm just saying for Downton, it was like, oh, that's because whenever we do one of those, when we're out the fox hunts or whatever, they do try to cover it as best they can. I thought they did a good job.
And you might as well. You've got beautiful English countryside. Oh my God, I've had like 3 sips.
Yeah.
But one of the things I wanted to mention was I completely forgot.
Yeah, and it's 3 sips in.
Oh,
all right.
My God.
Okay, but before we even got into
the James Bond music. The James Bond music.
You had mentioned that. But they didn't have it in this one.
They did. It was the same music.
Was it?
It was the same music. And it seemed really out of place before. And I'm glad that they brought it back because, then it gave it a little context, but it still did. I still didn't enjoy it. Yeah, it was just a little much for me.
That's great.
I liked it. I thought it was good.
I enjoyed it.
So, but before we got there, we got the reactions. Henry, kind of a bold move. He invites the Crawleys.
Yes, he did.
And, of course.
Over to Brookline.
Yeah, exactly. And Lord Grantham and Tom are agog. They can't wait to go. And,
Tom, I swear, was practically drooling.
Yeah, he really wanted to go.
He was so happy.
Yeah, exactly.
And he got to touch the cars and do things, and he felt all special.
He put a wrench in one of them.
And they were like, ooh, we're going to have to keep you. And he's like, ooh, don't tempt me. It's so cute. It's really precious.
It was really cute. And
really precious.
I mean, think about it. It's kind of the perfect combination for him. Going from, mechanic to aristocrat. An aristocratic mechanic.
Kind of, yeah.
There you go.
Aristocrat, yeah, sure, I know.
And nice little new ladies.
It's great. And, he's even said that to Laura, the editor.
Yes.
Said that, she's not the one with breaking ground.
Perky and kind, and how they end up walking alone together.
Interesting.
Look how cute they look together.
How lovely.
That's right. And it was, okay, so we had everybody's different reactions. Cora did not want to go, didn't want to pack clothes for it. Mary was reluctant. Edith didn't care as long as Bertie was there. So we have everybody, for different reasons. But they all got to go because it's Mary's new boyfriend.
It's Mary's new boo.
Yeah. So they go, and then they show up, and I thought that was interesting too, because then they have, apparently there's a spread there, which they don't usually have. They just have a greasy sandwich and soda pop or whatever it is.
Spread.
Yeah.
Quite a spread with
finger
tongs
sandwiches
to put
and
finger
sandwiches.
And
That's
how the fancy people live.
Mm-hmm. But that was fun to see, and it was good to see everybody show up there. I was surprised that Edith invited Laura, the editor, but you have to meet the family.
Come on. Well, and I think maybe they're setting up for Tom to have a romance with
Yeah, I thought that's what they were doing.
What, the one more episode that we have?
Yeah, who knows? We might have a movie.
Don't you start with that.
Yeah. Do you think she's going to die, ladies? Is that usually your prediction?
No. Okay, we'll talk about death in a little while.
Yes, we will. All right, but So I thought the beauty shots were great.
Right.
Anyway, but and I also liked the way they handled the crash. They showed it off camera.
Yeah.
Which is
Thank you. I'm so glad you brought that
Please
up.
do not ruin any of those cars.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, can't afford it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
second of all, you don't want to see that.
No, and
but the other thing that I thought was great about that was how fiery that crash
Yes.
was. I mean, there's even still with race cars, there's very little around the
Yeah,
drivers,
especially
but now
then.
we have, Nomex suits and things like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
But yeah, these guys in like goggles and a cotton jumpsuit.
Yeah.
And the fire extinguisher, which was like
The
no
worst.
bigger
That's
than
what
this wine
It
bottle.
was literally that big. It was like the
like,
things you get when you're a kid, like
That's
playing in the yard.
Not even a super shooter.
I literally wrote worst fire extinguishers ever.
That's what they had. That's what made it so exciting. So, and then especially when it happened, and Tom right away, Bertie, come with me, and Mary, you stay here, and all that stuff.
Let's go.
Yeah,
I loved that moment of the scene because it's incredibly energetic and lively, and you're scared, and who is it going to be, and everybody like fell into place, and we got to see who they were. So Mary was like, I can't stay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And what about Edith chasing after
Chasing
her?
after
Yeah,
Mary.
it was like,
Yeah,
oh,
that was
a nice
like,
little moment.
because she has a soul.
Yeah.
Mary's the one that's been questionable.
And Lord Grantham ready to go. Oh, you're not going anywhere, buddy.
That I love.
Cora.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hold your horses,
Yeah,
man.
that's nice.
Anna running to
Anna
go because
ran,
she's
yeah.
got to go take care of Mary because she knows she's her closest confidant,
But Bates not being able to because now he has his limp
His
back.
limp doesn't work.
he's got
Yeah.
his
yeah, now
So-
he's limping again.
Of course, and Baxter has to chase after her. So, but it was, again, it was nice to know.
The moment that like really caught me was Anna saying, "Never mind, I have to go."
Right.
I was like,
But I also really appreciated Henry diving into the fire, just trying to save his friend.
He's trying to pull his friend out of the car.
And then having to pull
And I was
him
like,
out.
please don't let the car blow up.
Yeah,
further.
did anybody
He's on the
did anybody for a
ground.
second think that he was really going to be hurt? Of course, it had to be
Charlie.
because you can't kill another love interest in a car wreck.
No, it would just be that would be.
Yeah, but it was
cliche.
still kind of.
I was thinking maybe he would get like burned up, and then she would have to love him anyway, and see how that worked out.
I'm gonna say
Of course,
no.
Courtney went there. Since he was death
Being
or
that she
mayhem.
could drop him in his
Exactly.
emotional state. If he was
Yes.
burned up, she would definitely drop
All
him.
right.
The moment with Edith and Mary,
Yeah.
when they clutched each other, it was so short, but in that incredibly short moment, it was really touching, right?
So made you think that they were gonna.
Then we saw the coming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was going. Should I go there now? Well, yeah, we can't avoid it because she's a.
We all saw the coming out.
Exactly,
wait.
a scheming bitch.
Scheming bitch.
Scathing words.
Yes.
About a scheming bitch. Okay, but anyway, but prior to
Nasty,
that,
jealous,
nasty, jealous,
scheming
bitch. Yeah, so we know that's coming up next episode. But it was nice to have those moments, and even as fleeting as they are, it does show something.
Don't you agree, though, as a writer-director? John's a writer-director. In like 10 seconds, they showed each person.
Yeah, it was nice.
something.
It was really
and
good.
identifying who they are and what they're
they are.
about.
Yeah, and catching it all too, because
Yeah.
it would have been easy not to have those moments because we don't have time, but they took the time to do it, so
Yeah.
I appreciated that.
I really
Absolutely.
liked it.
Yeah,
Really liked it.
it also set up, the whole thing with Mary and Henry. Now, obviously, she was reluctant to go, but she went,
Yes.
and of course, for
Right.
many reasons, Tom prodding her all along. So then this horrible event happens, and Henry's he's distraught. He feels guilty. It's my
Survivor
fault.
guilt.
Yes,
Survivor's
did I
guilt.
push him? And I thought Mary was terrific in that scene.
did
She did
too.
great.
Yeah,
She
of course
had
you
a
pushed, but he
soul.
pushed you. Yeah, exactly.
We pushed each other. That's what you guys do, and it's okay. It was great.
Right, because quite frankly, she's an incredibly pragmatic woman. She's been through a lot in her life. Everybody in that time, death is kind of a reality.
As opposed to now,
well,
but you mean more so? Okay.
Yes, because just because of medicine.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, sure.
People did not live to be 101 back then.
Unless you're
Violet.
who will never die. Of course, but I hear what you're saying. Yeah, but she was fabulous in that scene. It was well written and it was nicely performed. And then the tragedy of we're back at dinner at Rosamund's house. By the way, let's not forget he shows up early to Rosamund's the first time, and he shows up early because he's trying to make an impression and say he wants everybody to tell her you'd be mad to let him go,
Right.
and all that stuff. And then of course, she's just beside herself with this because it's and I thought Tom was terrific in the scene. But let's get to the fact that he calls and just wants to hear her voice because he goes, I can't sleep until I know where we stand, and she, boom, breaks it off.
Because he had that, moment of revelation, a moment of clarity.
Sure.
After
as that death often does.
Coming close to dying himself.
So she clearly was thinking something in the prior scene back on the racetrack.
Yeah, let's not go into any of that stuff now.
So and Tom does this whole thing about you're just frightened, as we all are. You're afraid of getting hurt again, and you're going to be hurt. I'm going to be hurt because being hurt is part of life. But that's no reason to throw away the man that's right for you. So. Do you accept that Tom is right? Is it all just because you're being frightened, or is she just being pragmatic? That because Anna says, "I don't think your lives fit together." Is it just because she's scared, or is she just being pragmatic? Excuse me.
I think it's both. I think it's both, because I think she is definitely scared to death, especially after seeing all that again. And
she couldn't even eat.
She couldn't eat. She couldn't think. It's going to be terrible. But then again, at the same time, like, to give him the no, like, in that moment.
Yeah. Well, she tried not to. She didn't want to do the thing. She didn't want to do it on the phone.
But you still, like, if you were just lost and, I'm afraid, I don't know how this is going to work, blah, 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 then maybe she would have kept putting it off.
Yeah, true.
But to just be like, you know what? I know you're down. You just lost your friend. You're probably thinking about suicide yourself in some ways.
Look,
I'm
the Band-Aid's already ripped off. You might as well rip the rest.
She just like stuck the stake in his heart. Like, I don't know.
Just to add a little more to his Scotch glass. He'll be fine.
Make him jump off a bridge. Why don't you? So I feel like that part of it was her back in her pragmatic brain. Like, this isn't gonna work. Like, there's no way. And I'm just gonna go ahead and be honest.
And I would agree to that. But then they had that moment with Tom, and then you saw her. She didn't look pragmatic at all. She looked completely. I thought she was just scared out of her mind and did not want to have to experience what it might happen. And I thought that
she's been through it
exactly.
so hard before.
But it didn't seem pragmatic when he starts talking to her, because I think she was held up. She was trying to hold it together, but really, I think it was just
she's just scared.
I just want to say, Nicole Wolk, who is one of our YouTube followers, said, "I think Mary's in one relationship with two men, meaning Henry and Tom."
Oh, sure.
Okay. So Henry is the man that she's emotionally connected to, romantically connected to.
I think romantically.
And Tom is the person who she's kind of partner with. Right. I mean, because she literally partners with him.
Absolutely. And has let down her guard with him and really been vulnerable with him. And
exactly. Emotionally connected. Exactly. They've both had the loss.
Right. So some people are still saying that they think there's going to be a Brary.
Not gonna happen.
Branson and Mary.
They've just played up the brother-sister thing too hard, because now it would be way incestuous.
Weird.
Yeah, now like if they had done it when he first came back and like whatever, but now they've had so many great moments of like brother, sister, sibling moment. Oh yeah, I'm here for you. No, it'll be gross.
Well, and I would like to say that I think that part of the reason why Tom wants him with her is for his own interests.
Why Tom
wants Mary with Henry.
To some degree, I would agree, but I think maybe 10%, because I really do think he has Mary's best interest at heart.
I do, but I think it's clouded a little bit, is what I'm saying, because
it's comfortable for him too.
It's comfortable for him. And I'm not suggesting that he's all like
no, he's not scheming. He's not scheming.
No, but
and it also justifies his relationship.
Yeah. He's got a boy crush on Talbot. I mean, his like sweet, but like goofy grin about can I go and can I touch your car,
and the arguments he's been making, it really solidifies and justifies his relationship with Sibby, which was real and concrete and all that kind of thing. But also, there's a part of me that I'm going, does she ever going to get the way she is with Tom is the way she can be with these other guys, so she can actually have a full relationship?
Husband. So even if she gets it here, it's not always all over, because she's still Mary, queen of the castle, and like he's not. He drives a car and almost died. Like he's just.
Nobody's going to be.
And what is he going to do now? He's going to keep driving. Like, we've already seen the death, and if he doesn't drive, then what is he going to do? Does he have a job? Like, what else can he do?
Right.
What difference does that make?
So that makes him less of a catch, even less of a catch. She was already concerned about it.
Let's be honest. She said she doesn't want to marry down, but there's no way she was going to marry up, because she wants to be the queen of the castle. She doesn't want somebody that's...
She just wants somebody on her level.
Yeah, I'm not sure I believe that. I think she really does want to be...
in charge of everything. Yes. Well, she can still marry somebody on her level and be in charge of everything.
Yeah, well...
We all know how that works.
So, okay. All right, well, we won't solve that. I'm sure we'll have some interesting comments about that.
Probably have more
Absolutely.
already.
But let's move on because we have lots to cover, and we have Edith and the birdie, and the birdie. And I was going to say Edith and the birdie
just
situation.
one more thing
Go
that
ahead.
Nicole said.
Sure.
So she says, if Fellows had given all the Tom and Mary scenes to Mary and Talbot, we would be swooning over them as a couple.
Oh, sure, yeah. But that's kind of my point. Is when is she going to learn how to do that with somebody that she actually has a romantic interest in?
Right.
Because she's always, holding that side.
Yeah, pushing people.
Died.
So what? I get that.
That part
Get
of her
over it.
is still wounded and still delicate.
You are a cold-hearted bastard, John.
No, but my point is, yes, of course you have to get over that, because I agree with Tom. You're gonna have hurt. You're gonna have pain. Who doesn't know
make
that?
it easier to step over the line and put yourself out there again.
It kind of does when it's been 6 years.
Yeah,
or
that's my point. You start. Let's go. Start to be brave again.
Don't quote me on the years. Don't send me emails. I know I've got it wrong. All right.
It's just in theory.
It's been a while.
So, exactly.
A while.
It's been a while.
Yeah,
but she sees her little baby every other day, and that reminds her every other day that she used to love somebody.
And the other thing is that, and I've talked to actually friends who've been through this, that Matthew died in the gorgeous bloom of their love.
Sure.
Like there was no you annoy me the way that you grind your teeth at night. They hadn't been through that stuff.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Nothing. But so they hadn't been through any of those kind of long-term marital rough patches that people have.
It was still magical.
Other people have, not me. And so it was still all magical and everything's idyllic, and so the past memory of it is something it was already hard to match, and it's quadruply hard to match at this point because she's got that
I can't argue that point. I think you're absolutely right.
And she's been marinating in that for 6 years of this beautiful fantasy.
That's kind of the point. Stop marinating. Move on.
Well, she wasn't really allowed to do very much. She only got to have one little fling with somebody. It's not like it's 2015 and she could just run around.
We've had how many suitors have we had where she could have?
A bunch.
Yeah,
plenty.
So, all right. So
but they were ugly.
That's the other point that I wanted to make about Tom is that his big argument for Henry is that he adores Mary. Quite frankly, she could throw a rock and find people who will adore her.
Which is still kind of beyond me. It's like, why? What the hell?
Because she's fabulous.
Yeah. She is fabulous.
No. She has moments of fabulous. That's about as much as I could say. I wouldn't call her
She's fabulous and elusive and all that sexy stuff that you men like.
No.
Exactly.
No. That's just trouble.
All right. Move it along, John.
Obviously not John's cup of tea.
No, just get over yourself. All right, anyway, moving on.
Move it along.
So Edith and Bertie. I thought that was interesting because here, after this horrible thing happens, they're lying together. I thought it was a nicely blocked
she's got
stage
shoes
tableau.
Off.
That dress.
Yes.
Okay, did you notice the dress this time, John?
Only because you guys have alerted me to these things. Now I was like, oh yeah, that is nice. Otherwise, it would have gone. Yeah, it would not have been.
It was the kind of thing Mary would have worn in the past, and now Edith is wearing it.
But that was a very difficult scene too, because it is tragic, but she feels, and I love the word she used. She feels with his arm around her, she feels comfortable, which to me harkens back to the automatic feeling she had last. Which talked to the other, so I thought that was a nice callback to that. But I understood that is that it's been a sad, wretched event, and because you're here with me, I've been able to face it. It's like okay, of course,
you and me against the world.
Yeah, there's that thing, and then he just says, "I want to be
part of this family,
trapped. I want to be trapped."
Right,
and he proposes. It's like, whoa, that's a weird proposal.
He's like, "What do you mean? You know I'm mad about you."
Yeah, she's thrilled. She's delighted. Yes.
And she's surprised.
Sad. Yeah, she's not the kind of girl that men are mad over. Yeah,
it's like, oh
it's
no.
True.
And then you should marry him.
Yes.
Yes.
And finally, he says something about Marigold.
Can I bring her along?
Just one little catch.
I got a little
catch. Yeah.
And that ward. Can she be the family? I don't know.
That's what they call them.
You want to bring your ward, your family's ward? Well, I'm the only one that likes her. That's the excuse.
So that's obviously that's gonna be the wrinkle there because she's still not fessing up to what everything is.
And then he brings up more kids.
Okay, so the question is, will she say the whole truth, or do you think she's gonna wait until after they're married and then say?
Mary's gonna say the whole truth.
You think that's why she's a
wretched bitch?
So I think what they're setting up is that Edith thinks she's going to say something, and that's why she says all those horrible things. But I don't think Mary's going to say anything.
Interesting.
I don't think Mary's going to tell. Even though the whole Pamuk thing, and let's face it, Edith did a horrible thing that almost derailed Mary's life.
Right.
And she, if you want to believe in retribution,
she did it. She just got intercepted.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It almost derailed.
Yeah. Oh, well, I thought you said almost.
No, she did it, but it almost derailed Mary's life. And if you want to believe in retribution, then I guess turnabout's fair play, and she has every right to do it. I don't.
But that wouldn't fit Mary's path.
Nobody sitting at this table believes in that.
No, but I just don't think Mary will. I don't think Mary will. I think at this point she'll realize no, because I think at some point she's going to realize that took a lot for Edith to do, and to maintain, and to keep as her own daughter. And I think she'll see the courage in that. And I don't think she's going to give up that.
It's so interesting because we get both sides of actually every color of the spectrum with these two women. And, that Mary is irredeemable. That, Edith is irredeemable. And the whole spectrum. And people
sisters.
And people give really compelling comments. Thomas is irredeemable. All of them. And then they give really great support to you guys.
Each argument.
Give great support to your arguments. And but I like this idea that Mary kind of has a little crack in her heart and may actually have some compassion. And
she'll want to, but I just don't think she will. But not just for Edith's sake, but I'm sure that'll bring scandal upon the family and all that. But I think that at the end of the day, she won't do it because it will cause. It's the only possibility for Edith's happiness that she sees, and she won't want to run.
Well, but the other thing is that are you condemning Marigold to a terrible life if you start letting it out?
She's just a ward. Who cares?
Oh my God.
Well, maybe Edith will bring it up later in life once they've been married for a while, and she starts to look just like her.
So do you think she'll say? Do you think she'll say everything to him or no before she says yes? The whole thing, okay, the reason why I couldn't say yes before is because of this, and if you still after this you still want to get married, we will. Or do you think she won't because she doesn't have the courage to do it?
Okay, with one episode left before the Christmas special, I think that she will tell him before they get married. Yeah. They will briefly break up, and by the end of the episode, they will be engaged.
And make it all sweet.
Or they won't be engaged until the Christmas episode. They may hold that.
But there has to be a wedding.
I know they'll have a wedding, but it'll
in 2 hours you can get from an engagement.
Sure, I think you can. But that way we'll have that suspense about will they get back together or not.
I'll drink to that.
So, but I agree with Tamara on that. That's my thought as well. What do you think? I think she will tell him. I think he'll freak out a little bit.
I think she definitely has to tell him. I think it would be uncharacteristic of the times if he doesn't freak out a little bit.
He'll have to freak out.
I feel like he has to freak out.
Agreed. But I mean, remember when he saw Marigold sleeping in the room, he said, "God bless you, Marigold."
Oh, so sure, but
that ain't his. He doesn't have to deal with that.
That's some other man's love child.
That's not. My beautiful, precious Edith, who I think is a virgin spinster, has slutted it up and had a baby. That's a different perception.
But if you look at it from even a larger perspective, poor Edith was in love.
Sure.
Accidents happen. Yeah. And the father of her baby, the man she loved, died nobly.
Right.
Fighting the brown shirts and having a tragic death, and then Edith also acting nobly rescued the child.
He'll come to terms.
Yeah, Bertie's reason why I think he'll come to terms with that. He'll realize that. But it's a huge shock, and the betrayal of not telling me ahead of time, and how many times I thought we trusted each other. I mean, all that stuff.
Of course,
he's got to get over all that.
Like they do in minute 3 and then minute 15 in a sitcom.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Suddenly it all works out.
Now, that being said, I could absolutely see her not saying anything and having the wedding being going on, and he learns just before the wedding. It's like,
by the way, okay, I have a crackpot prediction from Gator 555 that there's something not right in the head about Marigold, so to speak. We've seen her actually smile once when Mrs. Drew was talking to her. Other than that, they treat her like a prop. Just watch the way they carried her around when she was abducted. She was nonplussed through the whole thing. I predict she's going to end up in an asylum somewhere with Mrs. Carson's sister.
Okay.
Not Elsie's sister. The controversy that gives Bertie pause won't just be that she's a bastard. It will be that she is a dark family secret.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Nice.
So there you go, right?
Way to go, Gator, reaching into the recesses.
See, people think about these things.
All right.
Well, maybe that's what actually happens is that like they are going to do like a shotgun wedding all quick and nobody knows. And Mary somehow, he overhears Mary talking about the baby. And
Moments before walking down the aisle.
And Edith thinks that she did it on purpose and she didn't. And then they have this whole altercation and it ends. And then by the so that's how we end next week. And then the finale is somehow them
coming
like
to their senses for
figuring that out. For
I
a real
like
wedding.
That.
I don't care. I want you.
Because she's like, I'm
everything that comes
old.
with
Yeah.
you.
Even your
child.
Bastard child.
Slowly touching the head child.
But truly, I mean, I think that's an interesting prediction, depending on how large they want to make it. But she doesn't ever speak, and she has kind of that...
Yeah, we don't really hear about the other kids don't really speak either, so it's not like we know about
but
the
they
other
call Grandpa Donk.
Yeah, we've gotten more like animated activity from them.
It doesn't matter. Uncle Julian will let us know when he wants us to know. This is my...
And sometimes not.
And sometimes
all right,
not.
So,
hello,
good.
Green.
Yeah, thank you. Let's move on to Violet.
Or even worse, Coil.
Or Coil.
I thought this was nice. Violet is trying like crazy to get over her ousting. She's licking her wounds and she has to leave the country to do
She's
so.
She's going to get to France.
How are things in my former kingdom?
Yeah. And I like that she says, when I get angry, I say things that people have difficult time forgiving.
Yeah. And the fact that she even...
Of herself.
She's aware.
Yeah.
The fact that she even agreed or revealed that she was angry, I thought was kind of big of her.
It was big of her, yeah.
And
so she fought a good fight and she lost.
That scene between, all of the scenes, but especially that first scene between Violet and Isobel was back to like, we're buddies again, right?
It was so good.
And I love that. And then
talking about Crookshank.
Not only buddies again, but she's going to go do a song for her.
She's going to do it. Yeah, I'm going to find out what's going on over here.
Leave it to me. Tough nut to crack. I'm a tough nut cracker.
Yep. There you go.
It's a great line.
So, and then let's go to Crookshank. So we see her, and I thought it was great that, yes, last episode, obviously Violet had a lot on her mind, but when Crookshank was running the number like, I'm trying to be all friendly and stuff, I think she sensed something then. It seemed like she did, and it wasn't just because she was preoccupied with the whole hospital thing. I think she sensed something. She even mentioned it to Isobel when they were talking.
Violet is a super smart cookie.
Yeah.
She always has been. Yeah. She's always, we've talked about it in past series, how she can see the scheming behind the scheming in people.
Because once you've done it, you can see it.
Exactly.
She's
done them all.
She's the queen.
She's a tough nut cracker.
Yes. And I thought was interesting when she goes to meet, she doesn't announce herself ahead of time. She just shows up, which is great. Put her off.
Sends people running.
Absolutely. Puts her off her game.
Yep.
And the friendliness of Crookshank was already immediately
she's like, nobody's
gone.
Always friendly.
It's like, right. And even, there's that too, but Crookshank was knew something was up and she wasn't as friendly this time. And then and she just picks it apart. She prosecutes the whole conversation, and she realizes what's up.
So basically,
you just want Lord Merton out of your way.
A nurse
gonna spoil your fun.
Yes. Which is a side note why I don't think Edith is going to end up married. Because I feel like the wedding is actually Lord Merton and Isobel and Edith, and gonna end as poor Edith.
No, that's really interesting. I think that's a good theory. But I'm going. Would we be as excited about that wedding as we would be about Edith's? What do we think?
I wouldn't personally, because I think it would be much more attractive if it's Edith's wedding.
Yeah.
And I want to see that. Yeah. But I could see them making a
because we've already seen one Edith's wedding. We don't need to see another.
Exactly. It's already happened. And she's sort of like put herself in a position where she's almost doomed to be unhappy because she's got this baby and he's got to accept it. So it would make sense, because why else is this whole Crookshank thing? Like, who cares about Lord Merton, really? Like, why is all this even a thing right now? Is he really going to just leave that hanging out there?
That's a good argument. Why bring this back into the fore?
Yeah.
Why introduce Crookshank if we're not going to follow the story?
And Isabel's entertaining it. Like, she's not like, oh no, I would not. She's just uncomfortable. She's entertaining the whole thing.
And Violet even says your decision's even harder now, because before you didn't want to come between son and father, and now you between his isolation and being thrown to the wolves.
Yeah,
exactly.
So why is this an issue?
Violet. My favorite line of Violet's from that moment was, "I'd feel sorry for Larry if I didn't dislike you so much."
I thought it was I disliked him so much.
Him so much. Sorry, him. Sorry, him. It says him right here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. But she clearly does not like Crookshank either because we're gonna bound to run into each other. No, not unless
I see you first. And I expect they'll have to drag you out with your fingernails catching on the door case. That is a visual right there, isn't it?
Combo.
And Crookshank was just a little out of relief. She's trying to hold her own by saying,
but you can't.
I think we should end that here because the next thing you say might be awkward the next time we meet. I thought it was like, almost. You're getting there. You're getting there.
You're close. You'll be that.
You are messing with the master, my friend.
Yeah, you are with the master. Don't mess with the master.
And that was fun to see. And was it a surprise that she took off? It was kind of surprising. Like, where are they going with this? Why is
I think
Julian?
that's why she's gonna die.
You think she's gonna die?
That's my death prediction of the week.
Thank you.
I think she's gonna end. She's gonna die away somewhere, so we don't have to see her. Check that off the box.
Courtney's made her death prediction this week. We can move on.
That's immediately what I thought as soon as she started talking about, I'm going to go on the boat and I'm going to go hang out in France with the French and, that'll make me miss home.
Does anybody know the historical reference to the Paris and did it sink?
Up. No, it didn't sink as far as I could tell. I did look it up, but I did not find anything. Well, I mean, I said to you, what is this a Valhalla moment for Violet?
No.
Is she going off into the sunset?
I don't know. It's either that or they she's got contractual obligations elsewhere.
That was your answer, right?
It was. I was like, no, I don't think they're going to kill her off. Because I want to see her at the end. I want to see her for the finale. I want her to be as part of that Christmas
thing. I want Violet to have the last frickin' snarky comment.
What is the weekend kind of moment?
Exactly. Yeah.
Or it's like, how long can I endure? Something about how long she's lived. But so I think maybe she won't be there for the next episode, just so we can have a nice fun moment when they bring her back for the Christmas thing. That's what I think. It's like, what, really? I don't kill her off.
I don't think you can kill her. I don't think you can kill her.
I mean, by all rights, she should be dead already.
She should be dead already.
By natural causes.
Exactly. But
she's removing herself from the situation.
But that would be
positive.
tragic, and it would be extremely dramatic.
And then she gave him a puppy at the end of the episode. People,
exactly.
Come on, she's gonna die.
One life dies.
She's gonna die.
It could be.
Sorry, guys.
Courtney.
She's gonna die. Or maybe she'll make it back. She might be sick and come back and get to see Isobel get married. Or Isobel get married, and she'll be like, "I give you my blessing," and they'll have a great old lady moment at the end. Sweet.
Viewer Imogen sent me an email and basically said that giving the puppy was really manipulative by Violet.
It is.
Of course, yeah, but that's what she is.
Oh, come on, you guys!
Well,
it wasn't genuine kindness.
I think, there was some genuine kindness. I think she really loves her son and everything like that. I mean, she would know that this would, he just almost died. This would be a reason to help him live. So, I mean, because he loves his dogs.
But she's probably hoping they'll feel guilty every time they look at the dog.
Exactly.
Of course. I don't know that she does anything with absolutely pure intent.
All right, you guys are fine. But I just want to say that was one of my crying moments of this episode.
Was wonderful.
Because, John always thinks about everything. I'm like the perfect audience for anybody. Because I just wait for the information to come to me. And, if I'm given enough time, I'll think about it. But basically, it was like, what is the present? What could the present be that they can't bring upstairs? What could the and I thought it was like some dopey farm animal. A new pig for the pen. It didn't even occur to me that it would be a puppy. I don't know why, because
you don't think about it. You just let it happen.
I'm a dopey viewer, because I love to let things be revealed to me. I'd prefer that as opposed to figuring it out.
Yes.
And his face when I just went pew, tears just went like.
And they were like, we don't want to bring him up to the living room, and he picks him up. He's like, oh, I don't care about that. And all I can think is that's because you're not a servant, and if he pees all over the place, they're the ones cleaning it up.
Let the puppy pee on the Reynolds.
all of those draperies and everything else. Exactly. Goodness gracious.
Of course you don't care.
You don't care at all.
Yeah.
Why would you care?
But it was a wonderfully joyful moment. We needed something. We needed some levity. We already had a death. We needed something.
Yes. Who doesn't love a puppy?
Who doesn't love a puppy? If you don't, you're soulless.
Exactly.
The second wife to Amenhotep
the second.
All right, so we get keep the Egyptian thing going. So
yes,
that's nice.
keep it going.
Okay, but now the other.
Oh, good gracious, we gotta go.
I know we have a lot to cover. So the other things that I thought were wonderful, I loved the Moseley thing. The whole
heavy dancing.
Oh my God!
I literally said, "Yay, Moseley!"
Yeah, he gets his thing. I mean, this is after we'll get to the little picnic they had, but just wanted that moment when Mr. Dawes comes in and he says how
and he laid it on thick.
Oh, it was great.
Smarter than the Oxford graduates.
Oxford and Cambridge are smart.
Impressed with you.
Yeah, you should be proud of yourself.
Yes.
But the reaction I just love the reaction that he took. Great job acting on it when he turned away and you could wiping his tear and everything. He's not sharing that. And
it was so good.
I mean, imagine. Yeah. He's lived his whole life in service thinking he was, not articulating like Andy did, that he was stupid, but I mean, that he's been, third, fourth class.
And what he said to Daisy, that he knew that he'd never get to be a butler in a place like this.
Yeah,
what he had always aspired to. He was Isabel's, and I mean, the whole thing, and he always wanted it, got knocked down to footman again.
Yeah. And can't you imagine that this is 10 times more important to him than being a butler?
Of course.
Is being all right,
validated.
Yeah, exactly. Just for who you are and what you're, what your general knowledge. That's like your basis for everything.
And what you care about and what you actually would be doing with your life had you had a better choice.
And, I also liked that last week when he so wanted to be the docent and talk about all the pictures and stuff, and he didn't have that moment, but he got this moment.
Got this one.
Yeah, so that was nice.
Appreciated that.
And then coming up, so you're just like, of course, because somebody's gonna find out, and they're just gonna just deride him. Like
right, exactly. Bash him down, put him back down in this place. Service is ending for most of us. I've just got a head start.
Yeah. Yes.
And then
and he's the character that you want him to get a head start. I mean, he's been noble. He's been
and he got beat down pretty well. What was it? 2 seasons ago? Was that last season when he was like paving the street and couldn't get a job?
I've never thought of myself, or I never think that I deserve anything. Perhaps I'm normal after all.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he said. Well, is that what it was? I thought it was perhaps I'm wrong. Whatever. It's the same,
I thought he said normal, but
same
I don't
sentiment.
know.
Same sentiment.
It is. Yeah.
But it was just a terrific moment. And then we also in that same kind of sequence with when they do the picnic and Barrow brings the lemonade and stuff like that, and they're all talking about Thomas. I'm sorry, they're talking about Daisy and her tests, and then Andy reveals he can't read. Finally, which is good. I'm glad.
Yeah, it needed to come out.
But
Dawes says, "Well, I can teach you, but Thomas, you need to step back now." And I'm just going, "Geez, he's just getting the crap kicked out of him."
Push him away. Yeah, push him away.
With Carson earlier in the episode saying, look, I'll be happy when I find out your new employer, all that kind of stuff. And even Mrs. Hughes having that nice moment. Mrs. Carson now.
Mrs. Carson
has that nice moment with him saying, "Look, you'll find something. You'll find the right place."
But then he was like, the right person that you can be friends with.
Yeah. And he realized there are no roots. I mean, even because the one good thing he was doing was with Andy trying to help him read, and
it didn't matter.
Didn't matter because that's going to get taken away now.
Oh,
so sad. Which just makes me think, it's going to be him. Either he's going to off himself, or he's just going to leave without saying anything to anybody, and people are just going to go, "What happened? What did we do? What drove him up?" And I think that's what's going to happen.
But nobody would care if he left.
Also,
I think they would care that they might have done something that caused. I think that after he was gone, they would have said we should have taken more time.
Predictions also that Andy will save Thomas.
Interesting. I like that. That's great. That's nice. That'll be a good moment for them both.
But I mean, think about it. It was just last season that he was injecting himself with that poison and trying to change himself.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, there's been some more, but other viewers reminded me how
vile,
wretched, and vile. Yeah.
And interesting coming up with Patmore in the B&B. So she's doing a great job there. Everything seems to be going great. Some guy hanging outside with a camera and a notebook. It's like, what?
Okay, I got a prediction.
What the hell is that?
It's that, I'm going to see if I can try and find out who it is. But anyway, it's somebody who said that Patmore's place is a love shack. That people are going and hooking up with prostitutes. Here we go, Imogen.
Oh, goodness.
If Mrs. Patmore's B&B is attracting prostitutes and people looking to have extramarital affairs in a low-key environment.
Well, that would make sense because in the preview, wasn't she like having to like fess up that it was her fault or something? That
because there was a local brouhaha that Carson didn't want to get the family.
Her niece.
Right, so there's a guy with a notepad and a camera.
Mm-hmm. That's a private detective or something of that nature.
Yep.
Yeah, so,
and that could be a great,
nasty business.
I think that's a great prediction.
I think it's terrific. I think that sounds fabulous. Lastly, before we get into anything, it's Hughes and Carson. Finally, we get the turnabout.
Yay!
Finally, she turns on him. So
he literally falls asleep at dinner from exhaustion.
I was like to have a heart attack.
Yeah, I like the sweating and everything. and burning himself and everything. She's just loving it.
I loved it too.
Yeah, and that would have been so hard for her, but just sit there and go, oh, and the bread's in the outside ice chest or whatever it was.
Put the crumble in the oven.
Don't forget the crumble. This is delicious crumble.
She was eating a lot more than just dinner.
In the water.
Eating it up. So
good. It was about time.
Yeah. Do you think he's going to find out? Or do you think he'll just be more appreciative from now on?
I think he's going to be more appreciative.
We'll find out how that plays out.
We predicted or said that was out of character for Carson to be so critical of her, and a couple of fans agreed with that. So I'm glad it's back.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if it was so critical of her. What surprised me is that he was so not aware of her reaction. Yes. That's the thing I was talking about.
That
seemed out of character to me, not so much because he is critical. That's his job.
But he would
but not of her.
Right. That's that, and that he wouldn't be so persistent in it and didn't recognize the feedback he was getting without. Yeah, that part was the part that was really surprising to me. We got a
couple of things. Mary, we have a very contrary daughter.
Oh yeah, very
good conversation with them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Daisy and Pat Moore and Mr.
had their moment.
Yeah, they did have their moment.
She said she hasn't had anything to herself.
Sorry about that.
So.
Right. She was so rude last episode that we could hardly forgive her. But then when she pointed out that she's hardly had anything of her own,
she thinks she can't share him because she literally thinks that love is fine.
Anything.
All right, fine, we'll give it to you, Daisy.
We'll give it to you.
The hats, the dresses.
Yeah.
The hats.
Cora not wearing boring clothes. She wore that coral color. We loved that.
She did wear a color because she's been kind of boring in her clothes.
Oh, is that right?
Pajamas were beautiful.
Oh, they were.
The dresses have been a little drab.
Okay.
Yeah.
But all of their hats were great, especially when they came back from the track and all of that.
Oh,
and they
coming
came
home.
to the house.
Everybody
they looked great, and those
so
hats
beautiful.
were fantastic.
Yeah, the hats, amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we do some news and gossip?
Yeah, quickly.
Okay. Thank you. Fans of Lady Mary are disappointed after Michelle Dockery withdrew from a revival of, help me out with this one, Les Liaisons Dangereuses.
I don't know.
My
Close
close
enough.
on Dangerous Liaisons.
Liaisons.
That was set to open in London's West End in 6 weeks. No explanation has been given for her exit from the show, with speculation being that it was just a scheduling conflict, not anything more, rough than that. Yeah. Elaine Cassidy will be taking up the role of Madame de Tourvel in the production. Lily James, a.k.a. Rose Aldridge, a.k.a. Cinderella, has been confirmed to return to Downton Abbey.
We're gonna have her.
And rumors abound that Rose is pregnant.
Is the baby gonna die?
Maybe.
She said it was amazing. Oh my God! It was. She said it was amazing going back after a break. You were just totally re-inspired by the wonder of it. That grand house against the gray skies and all the friends you haven't seen in so long. And then she talked about how I don't know if I would be sitting here if it weren't for Downton Abbey, because it really changed my life. I mean, it changed most of those actors' lives. Yes. Great interview with
especially this Maggie Smith person.
Maggie Smith.
Yeah. Really changed
now
her.
We know who she is.
Because before then, she wasn't.
Who was she?
Great interview on YouTube that I'll tweet out later, where she is talking about the lady in the van.
Sure.
But how she has a whole new, her whole new fan base that are quite short people who know her mostly from Harry Potter. Yeah. And now all these other people who are appreciating her from
She
Downton
stays
Abbey.
away from the Americans. She doesn't go anywhere.
Let's stay away
Get her. Because we're great.
Because we're not shy.
Yeah.
Apparently,
we're not.
Yes.
We're bold.
Okay, thank yous and shout outs. Rachel, Nicole, Tyler, Gator, Anna Bali, Drake, Bartles27, aka Pip Sproller, aka Rick on YouTube.
Wow.
CK Groupie, Melissa Heisler, Katie Bailey, Catherine Smith, Jackie, happy birthday, 1 week late, Imogen and Kathy Raceler. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you
All your
so
tweets
much.
and everything are awesome.
Yeah.
What are we expecting for the final show before the Christmas episode?
Okay, first of all, tears.
Yeah. They're going to pile it on. It's going to be an
because the Christmas one is going to be
roller coaster.
really tearful, but good tearful and warm and
Christmas special is going to be 2 hours,
absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
We can hope. And so we've got 1 hour now.
Yeah.
There's some talk about, and I kind of agree with it, that he's sort of stacking things up to try and solve a lot of problems all at once. Just don't even address the green thing, because we're too pissed about it.
And is he going to do anything
Are
with
you
the
going to
Baxter
fix Coyle?
thing?
Are we? Yes. Can we?
Right.
Is Coyle anything? Like, why is this happening?
Yeah. So All right.
I don't even know. There are things that we didn't even get to cover today,
there's a lot to cover. We got somebody else coming in the studio.
We do.
All right, but they'll finish the Baxter thing next week. I'm guessing she'll go see him, whatever. And then
see if he still has a hold on her, whatever the hell that means.
I predict an excellent cliffhanger.
Next
week's episode.
All right.
Okay.
But it better not have anything to do with Green, because I am over it, Julian. Don't even try.
Green and Coyle are the same person. He's not really dead.
We don't care.
Nice.
Cheers.
All right, that's it. We got to go. So tell them where they can find you.
You can find me on social media at Stuart Starlet.
I am at Tamara Berg on Twitter, and Tamara Central is my website. You guys, thank you.
You can only find me here. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks again for tuning in. Bye-bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.